Alright, folks, how are we? Belfast boxing on, please. Yeah. It's horrible, isn't it? Like, we're not getting what we're supposed to be getting. Or are we? Because we have Dmitry Bivol, Artur Beterbiev coming up very shortly. It should be good to see. Can't really make a prediction or anything for the fight because as I mentioned before, I'm simply not qualified. I can talk a bit of nonsense about and then around it, so I think I'll just stick to that, But I was just looking at the records there. Bivol, a lot of the guys he's fought haven't really been of the highest caliber, not as such a consistent sort of record as what Beterbiev or Beterbiev or whatever the correct pronunciation is. According to BoxRec, Bivol holds the IVO title. I don't know what that. I had to go to Google then because BoxRec is stupid. If you put your trust in BoxRec, you're gonna slip up. Your facts won't be straight at all. So who really knows? I mean, who keeps track of these things really? So anyway, let's have a wee look at it. He fought that Joe Smith, Jean Pascal, right? He's actually Lembo, right? Who did he fight? He fought Tony Bellew, and he beat him first time round. Claims he was done over on the cards. Got him the second time around. It was maybe a draw first time round. I'm not sure. I do mind he was sort of drained at the weight, Bellew, for that one, and at the weigh and stuff, you could see the effects of it. Even his eyes were bulging, like he had been the victim of some extraterrestrial probing. But it's just as well he moves up to cruiserweight then, isn't it? And Jean Pascal stuffed him. I imagine that's where he picked up the WBC. Joe Smith Jr., both, ex-victims of the executioner. Bernard Hopkins, who's the man. If you want to look at fundamentals and stuff like that, like I say, I don't know a big pile, but I know what I like, and I didn't used to like Bernard Hopkins because I was a big Joe Calzaghe fan, but I probably prefer to watch the sort of thing that Bernard Hopkins does than I would looking back at some of Joe's old fights, which I still love, don't get me wrong, but maybe I've become a little bit more of a purist, a casual purist, so I think technique-wise and his form, Bernard Hopkins is top dog, Not to mention, of course, he fought till he was, in his mid-90s. So anyway, Gilbert Castillo Rivera, we don't really know him. Craig Richards, a decent domestic level fighter from this side of the pond. Couldn't do much with him. Bivol beat him, but he went the distance. He tends to go the distance with these guys, like he did later with, who's our other Brit, here he comes, Lyndon Arthur, who I thought fought very well against him. I thought that his jab was great, the straight right hand was fantastic. And I even felt maybe he was just a wee bit gassed or something like that, but he didn't put as much pressure on Bivol as what he could have done, if you get where I'm coming from. And there was a similar sort of dynamic in the Canelo fight, where you could see Canelo was getting busted up. He was against a much bigger man. Bivol looked great in that fight, don't get me wrong, but those big power punches that Canelo's used to, really taking the steam out of his opponents, they weren't taking a flinch out of Bivol because he was just a much bigger guy. Must have a pretty solid chin then as well, which we haven't really seen tested elsewhere. But he was, everything that Bivol threw at him was, you could see was taking a lot out of Canelo. And maybe similar to that, like I say, that Arthur fight, maybe stepped off the gas a little bit. God knows, it could have been a matter of respect, or maybe he was just playing it safe too because he you never know how these things are going to go. So anyway, he fights after Lyndon Arthur, who I think's a quality fighter, by the way. Malik Zinad, we don't really know him, do we? And next up is Arthur Beterbiev, the Beast, who everybody regards as a fantastic guy. You know, I think he's 38 or something like that, which is quite old. But then again, he's a light heavyweight, which isn't a million miles away from heavyweight, where fighters traditionally fight, you know, into their early 40s sometimes. 20 KOs, 100% knockout rate there. So, and like I said, there's a few more names. He hasn't been fed these guys, I wouldn't say. Although he has had them all up for breakfast. You know, without choking on the bones or having any trouble with his appetite, he actually just went through them. You know, so who have we got here? Callum Johnson. I think Callum Johnson then had him down in round 2. So that shows that there's a bit of frailty around the whiskers of Beterbiev, despite the great offensive sort of power that he has. Gavodzgist, that guy who recently was who's our mate that wanted to fight Canelo Benavidez. David Benavidez come up, and I don't know if he had trouble against that guy. I didn't see the fight, but I don't think it was a clear-cut win for him, and obviously the guy was a worthy opponent. So another good fighter on Beterbiev's record. Another knockout, TKO. Marcus Brown, yeah, he's well enough regarded, isn't he? Another half-decent name. Joe Smith Jr., like we said earlier about he fought Bernard Hopkins, I do believe he held a belt at light heavyweight out at one point. So American guy, yeah. Anthony Yard, big prospect from over here. There were big hopes for him. Queensbury, there was the usual matchmaking sort of thing with these guys with great potential, where they fight a lot of Euro trash, and opponents probably that didn't step up the way they should have done. You know, maybe in an effort to sort of guard his reputation and to try and build his reputation on this lie. You know, it's something that may or may not happen depending on who you take seriously. So anyway, Yard had a great effort against him. And I think that was Yard's second at the world title. I think he went in against Kovalev, and this is a real memory workout, isn't it? You have to. It's not like you get cue cards put up in front of you or anything. If any of you are doing YouTube videos, or you know, you happen to have to make a presentation at work or something silly like that, sometimes you just have to. It's a bit of guesswork, isn't it? Anyway, Callum Smith then. So Anthony Yard, like a great win. Yard down once in the 8th. His corner advised the referee to stop the contest. So I think he was really drained by that point. Yard's a big unit, and I think with his movement, it's quite unexpected for a guy that size to be so deft, and his footwork and stuff like that. You know, you see a lot of those little Mayweather, James Toney style things, which is quite interesting for a fighter from the side of the water to be able to adapt those things and make them look natural. But the fact that he is such a big guy, maybe that all of those little movements and things could add up to, you know, somebody being drained, you know, gassing out a bit, especially when you're under this weather of a beast, you know, landing punches from all angles, wearing you down, walking you down. You know, he's landing punches downstairs, upstairs, every side. You know what I mean? Got that, again, that Golovkin-esque, you know, those angled downward sort of hooks. And even his punches, they look like arm punches sometimes. Beterbiev, I found watching them. But they still carry a tremendous weight, obviously, because he's putting these guys down and he's putting them to sleep, like. And so, yeah, he fights Bivol. Bivol, in terms of his style, great boxer, fluid, has his own style. I think both these guys come out of Russia or Siberia or thereabouts. yeah, so they kind of come out of that school, although their styles are different in terms of the composition of their character and stuff. You would imagine those guys to be quite steely, you know, that type of thing. Like I say, Bivol, very interesting mover boxer. Seen a good clip of him the other day where he was demonstrating how you can move with that fluent, easy style, and then land a right hook, seemingly out of nowhere, a right uppercut shovel hook, where he gets the power from his leg on the same side, and it really comes out of nowhere. So I think too, when it comes to attrition and stuff like that, I think that Bivol is going to, looking at it, you would have to guess that Beterbiev would be the one that would be walking him down, that would be wearing him down, that would be putting that pressure on him, and can he stand up under it? He likes to be mid-range distance, Bivol, to operate from there. He doesn't like being up close too far out. Maybe he can jump in and out. He's got that quick step. Is Beterbiev going to allow that to happen? And does Bivol have the cojones to stick in there and make that happen? We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. I know who my money's on. Like I say, I'll not make a prediction. I don't exactly feel qualified, despite me just reading off a whole 10-minute video of technical information. My money's on Beterbiev, probably, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bivol came through. Judging by the age thing as well, it would be a perfect opportunity for Bivol, and therefore more incentive for him to really go for it. He's at 33. His star power, well, through the roof. It says that we're playing Mario Kart or something here, you know what I mean? But you know what we're talking about, like in terms of his fame and his prospects of making more money. You know what I mean? Just to secure his family's future and all of that good stuff that that we're in the game for, So guys, look, that's about the height of it. Yeah, I'm gonna throw up another video in a while and talk about Ben Schlong. We're going to talk about Ben Schlong. We're gonna get right into it. I think he made a very good appearance on the Simon Jordan talk show, which for some reason, and it was quite good to see. Might just be about the segue here. It was quite good to see that Spencer Oliver was kind of hosting it, like, so he was pulling Simon up. He was saying, "Here, it's not so fast." You know what I mean? He was keeping wee tabs on him, which is interesting. I like that, but we'll talk about that another time, guys. Look, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts and stuff too. So if you happen to watch this, drop a wee comment and stuff. Let me know. If you want to do a wee technical breakdown or just whatever way you think. What rounds it going. What's the best way for us to spend our money here on this one so that we can see a good return? Take it easy, guys.